everybody. Welcome to episode 12 of Why Would You Show Me This? I'm Will.
I'm Dani.
And we have a guest this week. Our guest this week is Laz, the coolest guy I know.
Yes, it's me. Hello, everyone. How you guys doing?
We are doing great, man. I mean, we're doing as good as we can with the movie that you picked for us.
Oh, yes. That's if you know me at all, which no one does, but I like, if movies don't make me severely depressed after I watch them, I don't watch them, or they're really old and comforting. There's no in between for me. That's my kind of movies, and it's a good way. We'll get into it, but yeah. That's my kind of movie. I gotta feel something.
Exactly. And this movie, holy shit, it's you. Okay, so you get an award. The first movie on the podcast that made me fucking cry.
Yep.
You're welcome. Yes, well, I'm the right guy for that. Let me tell you.
So let's. Dani's gonna read the synopsis. So we'll get the synopsis out and then we'll start talking about it.
So it's a ghost story. It's a recently deceased man returns as a ghost to his suburban home to console his bereft wife, only to find that in his spectral state, he has become stuck in time, forced to watch passively as the life he knew and the woman he loved slowly slip away.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It sounds so much worse when you just say it straight out like that.
Right?
It really does. And also, I feel that only really, that applies to 2/3 of the film, I think.
Yeah. I don't think it's necessarily supposed to be like, oh, don't you feel like shit?
Mm-hmm.
It's got more to it than that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm assuming it's cool if I curse.
Oh,
yeah,
of course.
Didn't. I was making sure, I don't want to step on your toes. But yeah, no, I love this movie. I didn't expect to. It had an Affleck involved in it, so by default, I wasn't super excited. But I got to give it up. It's great. Like we said a minute ago before we started recording, I love the aspect ratio. It's the first thing you notice.
Mm-hmm.
And it starts out, and I don't know. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I'm like, oh, here we go. Yeah, because it's a lot of people will do that inherently to try really hard. The Lighthouse did it, and it worked perfectly.
Yes.
But then again, I think The Lighthouse and like The Witch are two of the exceptionally great films. But in this, everything about this film feels like simple, really simple, really what's the word? Like, I guess simple, but it's not complex.
No.
It's not in your face. It's very intimate.
Yeah.
It's very very intimate.
And
I think like that I think the ratio really pushes that. Like everything's close and it's together, and I think that's kind of the point.
Yeah, and it also reminded me of because like the Lighthouse is 4:3, but in this movie they have the rounding of the frame.
Yeah.
And that
Like a vignette kind of thing.
Yeah, and it also reminded me of like
Viewfinder.
A viewfinder or the old slides. Yeah, it reminded me of slides.
Yeah.
Like we're looking into someone else's life. Like this is like his family album or something like that.
Yeah, like the old tin types they used to make photos. Yeah. That's actually a really good thought. Yeah. It feels, it kind of feels like the intro to like the Wonder Years, that old show where it starts out with like a handheld camera.
Yeah.
But not, and I don't know, I thought I wasn't going to like it from that beginning when I first, because I knew nothing about it. But that started out and I'm like, okay. And then, I don't know, 20 minutes in, I'm like, okay, no, this is perfect. Someone thought, because most of the time in movies, they don't really think about what they're doing anymore, in my opinion. But someone said, no, let's do this in 4:3 because of this. Because it was planned. There's a reason behind it. But yeah, I agree. It's like Polaroids or like home movies. That's a great way to put it.
Yeah, it really helped add to the film. And it's funny. One of the things when we were watching it, the pie eating scene became almost a point of contention. I was kind of letting it go. I'm like, I'm gonna let this movie breathe. It's in the beginning.
It's so long.
It's
and I think that's
long.
Yeah, it's too long. But then I think as you go on, it makes sense.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I thought.
But your first time watching, you're like, okay, I get it. Okay, and then I really hate to say spoilers for this kind of stuff because it's such a good movie to me. But the passage of time changes as the film goes, to where it's almost instantaneous later. And so I think I don't want to say I'm giving too much credit, but I think that scene is purposely to be painfully long because that's when he first comes back. I guess we're just trying to explain the movie. It's this couple. They have a house, and he's like a songwriter, and he gets killed. I mean, spoiler, sorry, but he gets killed.
Hey, if you're listening to this episode and you either don't care or you've seen it, so there's gonna be lots of spoilers.
Yeah, I assume there's you see the ghost story, you're assuming someone's gonna be dead. Or something.
Yeah.
So he comes back as a ghost, and that's another thing I want to talk about is the sheet.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds so stupid if you were to tell somebody. He like stands there with a ghost like in a sheet, it's just like a cheesy sheet. You go, that's stupid. How is that gonna be any kind of like importance or like emotional scenes?
Yeah.
But then you compare it, at least I did, to like Ghost Dad, that old Bill Cosby movie.
Fucking Ghost Dad. Oh my god.
When he's like see through and like a bus goes through him and it's wacky.
Yeah.
That would have significantly ruined the movie, I think, if it was just Casey Affleck standing there as a hollow person.
Yeah.
And we could see his emotions and he was like, "Whoa, I'm so sad." It feels like he's limited as a ghost.
Yes.
And I assume that's kind of what they're saying. Like, a ghost can't express how it wants to completely. He interacts with things a couple times, but not really.
I really enjoyed that.
He's just there.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I really enjoyed his, that when you kind of realize, oh, he can interact, like with the lights that he switches on really quickly. Mm-hmm. And then, as the film goes on, he does much more. But I really like that aspect of it, and I think the sheet also, there's certain scenes in the film where the sheet adds so much. Like, without the sheet, you wouldn't have gotten that pop, because like spoilers. When
we're just gonna do it,
yeah. When because he has another ghost that he talks to, in the house across from him. And eventually,
you should mention the subtitles that we had.
Oh yeah, we had closed captions on just because sometimes we don't want to miss what they're saying or whatever.
Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah, and it's so funny because it says telepathically says.
No audio.
Does it?
No audio.
It does.
Yes.
Oh, that's okay. So it's confirmed, like telepathy, I guess, because I've never watched it with captions, and I know they did the subtitles because it would be stupid if the ghost said, "Hello."
Yeah.
You don't want to hear the ghost talk.
Yeah.
And so I didn't know if they were talking and we just couldn't hear them.
Oh,
it makes sense that it's telepathic. It makes perfect sense.
Yeah.
And that's cool that it says that. That's crazy.
I love that it said that.
Yeah, and also it's another level of sad.
Yes.
When what they're saying, because the ghost across from him, she's like, "I'm waiting for someone." And he asks, and he says who, and she, I assume it's a she for some reason. It could have been whoever, but I assume it's a she.
It's a flowered.
It's a flower.
It's a flowered sheet.
You shouldn't assume.
Well, I guess that's
from his sheet, that's not fair.
Don't bring gender into this.
I assumed it was a guy, and not because I didn't even think about the sheet. That makes sense. I just assumed it was a guy. Because I don't know that he's a guy. I don't know.
Yeah.
I assumed that. I don't know. I just assumed it was a dude, but it doesn't. It's insignificant.
Yeah, it could be either or. But they say, who am I waiting for? He Casey Affleck says why, and they say I don't remember.
They say who, and then they say.
And then later on, the houses get demolished, and they talk again, and the other ghost says, "Well, I guess they're not coming," and then. The sheet just
vanishes. Like the ghost, inside the sheet vanishes and the sheet falls. Yes. It's a really good visual.
Such a good visual and a very powerful moment.
I think I audibly gasped when it happened.
Yeah.
Because usually we have ghosts like Casper and stuff where he goes goodbye and then he like fades and it's not like a snap.
Yeah.
But whenever you see a sheet and you've gotten used to that's a guy in a sheet standing there, and then it just snaps like nothing's underneath it and drops. You go, oh shit!
Yes.
Like he's gone. There is no like cinematicness to them being done or moving on or whatever happens.
Nope.
Yeah, I love that. That's one of my favorite parts too. And like I guess we should say like time goes. Like he comes back and he moves on. His girlfriend or wife. I can't remember.
I think
what
it's
it
I
is.
don't think they said. I mean,
Let's send the synopsis I read that said wife.
Okay, so I guess they were married.
I guess they were.
yeah.
It's not. That's not important. They loved each other.
Yeah,
That's
it
all we need
doesn't
to know.
matter really.
Yeah.
And time goes on, and she, eventually moves on, like you would need to. But from our position, at least me, if because it happens so fast, because it goes from slow and then it jumps time, because we're seeing the film through the ghost's eyes, and it seemed like it was almost instant.
Yeah.
It's not,
No.
but it seems like it's instant, so you kind of feel betrayed, and I guess that's kind of how he felt too. But in reality, it's been months or years. We don't really know.
Yeah.
And then she moves out, and it's a hard moment, and she puts, which this is really important. They say earlier in the film that she likes to leave notes in like houses before she leaves. And she puts a note in that house that they were together in when he died, and she moves. And then a Spanish family comes in, and then like a bunch of hipsters come in. and I didn't like that scene.
Oh,
the
yeah?
scene where the guy explains the movie.
I
I
Yeah.
didn't hate it. I didn't hate it. I thought he was great. He was fine. It's just, for me, I was like, I could hear a producer saying, "I don't think people are going to get it. Let's have a guy explain what's going on," and that's what he does, and that's fine. But as a personal preference, I think it would have been better if we had just been left to understand ourselves. But that's me. I'm very snobby with kind of stuff like that, so I get it.
Yeah.
But anyway, time goes on, and that's the thing. Is time rapidly goes for the ghost. Like, it increasingly is faster and faster. And yeah, the other ghost, she's one other ghost. And I'm assuming that when he gives up, or he accepts that his unfinished business, I guess. I keep going back to Casper, but I mean, that's like a big thing. Whenever they realize that whoever he's waiting for or she's waiting for isn't coming,
Yeah.
he's done. And they're done, and they vanish. I don't know if that's unfinished business. It's more interesting than Casper's. What was his? He wanted to have a dance or get laid, or
I
what
guess
was
so.
Casper's?
We need to ask
I don't
Devin
remember that
Sawa.
movie. I haven't seen it forever.
I had a
I
question
remember-
though.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, there was a question about like the beginning where he sees the door in the hospital. I was wondering what
Oh.
that was.
Yeah, that's something that we do. You have
Oh,
firm
yeah.
what you think that is? I mean,
No, that's the thing. When I rewatched it, I watched it it was like 2 a.m. I watched it recently. I've only seen it twice.
okay.
And it's not because I don't like it. It's just
It's hard
It's
to watch.
tough.
it's
Yeah.
it's honestly, every time I finish it, I'm like, oh man, like I have to sit for a second. And I love that. Don't get me wrong, but it lingers with you hardcore. This
Yes.
movie. And it's not like an example, like there's a lot of movies that linger with me, but in different ways, because they're not me. I'm not that person. I can't relate to this act. Like, one of my favorite films of all time is There Will Be Blood. Love that movie, and it stayed with me forever. But I'm not a crazy oil man, so I can't relate to that kind of person. So I think about it, but then it's over. This movie, as dumb as it sounds, is like one of the closest times I came to a religious experience in a movie. It really resonates with me because it doesn't explain things, but it kind of explores things that deep down I think most of us, if not all of us, worry and think about.
Yeah.
I do.
And so it's hard to watch, but no, that part I don't know. I haven't Googled any theories or anything. I tend to avoid that kind of stuff. Because it's a rabbit hole you can go down
Oh,
and
yeah.
ever get back out of. So I don't want this to look into it and somebody says, "Oh, it's about him being a murderer," and then it ruins the movie. I go, "Okay, no, I'm good." But
Yeah.
no, I don't know. I do like that the sheet that he was covered with, his body, is pretty much his sheet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So with that logic, I would assume that the other person died at home.
That's what you
I
think.
guess so. Yeah.
Yeah, because they had a flat. Unless
They had
I
like
guess
a
they
bed
died like
sheet on them.
Yeah.
yeah.
The one thing
That's the.
that I thought was
Go ahead, I'm sorry.
interesting. Oh no, it's okay. Is that so? He's at the hospital, but yet he makes the trek back to his house. But,
Yes.
And then he is stuck at his house.
Yeah, that's a weird part too.
Yeah.
And I would say it's like it's a movie. But
Yeah.
at the same time, I guess it wouldn't be very interesting. I think they really wanted to pound home he sees himself, like, oh, I'm dead.
Mm-hmm.
And if he just appeared at home that wouldn't really have that kind of moment.
Yeah.
But like you said with the door, I'm assuming it's kind of like saying, okay, you have to go here and finish your unfinished business. Um, and that's what I like about it. It doesn't have a voice saying, hey, go back to the house and get that note, man.
Yeah.
It's up to you, and it's not integral to why he got back. But that's what I thought too. I was like, what? So why did he can go back there, but now he can't leave? What? That's weird.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I think it's just I don't know, there are certain things in this movie that I'm like, okay, whatever. I mean, it's just the movie is it's so open, and so you can throw a lot of your own things in there. You can your own emotions. It makes you think about your own life and about life in general. It's certain things like that. It's like, okay, whatever. Like, I get it. You need to kind of get him to this place and all that. Like, it's fine. Like the door I thought was kind of cool because obviously with the sheet you just think Beetlejuice. And the door, and I was like, oh, hey, it's like Beetlejuice.
Hey, yeah. And a flat guy is going to slide through the slot this way.
Yep.
It's one of those films, because I love to pick apart things. Like, that makes no sense. Why do you do that? But in this film, it's so simple.
Yes.
That I don't think you need, like, the same logic as, well, why is he a sheet? You know, so you don't. That's not the point of the movie. You know, it's not telling. That's what's great about it. That's why I like this so much. It's not telling this big grand tale. It's just one guy in a house who ultimately wants to see this note that was left. That's the most important thing to him. We assume.
Yes.
And I love spoilers. He doesn't get the note his first loop or whatever you want.
Yeah.
He doesn't get it out, and they demolish the house before he grabs it. And then it goes to Blade Runner future. The guy. See, that's the thing. The guy. That's why I didn't like the guy in the kitchen, because he tells every single. He explains it to a point to where you don't go, huh? I guess he just said it goes to he was overly on the nose to me.
I do have a counterpoint to that scene and why I think it's good for the movie.
Okay.
Because that scene, basically, it's that guy being he's basically just a nihilist and he doesn't believe in anything, and he thinks to me he's explaining why have hope when nothing matters?
I feel him.
And
I got you.
Ultimately, to me, especially with the ending, and I think that's why I got so emotional, is I think the movie is about holding on to that hope.
Yeah.
I
agree with that.
Yeah, and so I think it's a good balancing point of because I think that comes at a point in the movie where he almost loses his hope of coming to terms with whatever he needs to. And he, I mean, I'm pretty sure that's not too long before he jumps off the roof in the future.
Yeah, it's I would assume that's more of a it's not, the whole movie is not so in your face with what he's doing. It doesn't cut to the ghost and a tear runs down his cheek and he puts a gun to his head. You don't need that.
Yeah.
He sees the future and kind of jumps off. And we can interpret, okay, that's him going, I just want to be done with whatever this is.
Yeah.
And I agree. I don't hate the scene because of the movie. I think it belongs in there. You're right. I think it's perfect. It's his personal preference. I don't like it. But I have to agree that it's not so ham-fisted that it could have been. And I thought for sure when he started talking, I go, okay, he's going to say, oh, some people see sheets with ghosts and they walk around. I was like, okay, don't. But no, yeah, I agree. He has a kind of a counter to it. He's talking to the ghost pretty much at that point. And yeah, no, that's a good point. I agree. And then when he gets to the future and it's like Blade Runner.
Yeah.
And that scene was lit so. I mean, I know it was just a green screen, of course, but him walking to the ledge, they did such a good job with the lights for such a simple movie. You know, I heard Casey Affleck wore that sheet. That's him the entire film.
I hope so.
I read that they didn't get a stand-in, that he actually did it.
Didn't I ask you that?
You did. Danny was like, do you think it's in the whole movie? I'm like, I hope that it is. I really, because even though he is under a sheet, there is a level of acting going on with him.
Yeah. Absolutely.
That just a regular person, I don't think, would have been able to do.
And I think a person who cared less about the project would have been like, I'll be in my trailer. Just have John go over there and stand for that scene. And so I give him respect, 100% respect that he actually did that. That's what I read. Now, I don't know for sure. I mean,
I mean, I would hope so. This is what I mean. This movie is a low budget movie, and
It said in the thing that I read, it was 100,000.
Yeah. Oh my god, 100,000, and you have
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, and you have names like Casey Affleck and Rooney Mara, and it's like they did this because they gave a shit about the story, and they gave a shit about telling the story.
And it's like it looks visually looks great.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you don't have these big set pieces, but like they filmed it properly, they lit it properly.
Yes. The lighting was fantastic. I think every shot, the lighting was just perfect.
I mean, you look at movies that cost like millions, and the cinematography isn't even close to as good as this. And this is just a room for the most part. It's like a single house.
Yep.
A very small house. Yeah, you know, the lighting's great. They did, and it's funny because it wasn't like spooky. Not that it was supposed to be, but it was without. This is gonna sound really punny, but it was haunting. It was a very haunting movie.
Oh no!
And I don't know if that was. I mean, I'm assuming that's intentional. And if I had to make a pull quote for this movie, it pisses me off because I didn't make it.
Yeah.
That's like I look at it and go, man.
Yep.
I should have made this because this is like I could. This is so. It's smarter than me, and it makes me mad. It's so good.
It's just it's great to see a movie where it's like you've been saying, everything is so simple. Like, simple to shoot, simple to, you don't need a lot of money. It's just the idea is the thing that makes it so great. And, you know, it's a film that they probably made. I read some trivia on IMDb. The director also made Pete's Dragon, I believe.
Really? That's crazy.
And he used funds from that movie that he made to make this movie.
Okay.
So
it was they cared. It was a passion.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, definitely.
Because I can't imagine. I mean, it probably made a profit just because it's so cheap. But
yeah.
I can't imagine it blew up and like it made millions and millions and millions.
Well, maybe I mean A24 is really good at marketing, so it might have made a good penny.
I mean, hopefully it made enough that I'm sure it made his money back at the very least.
Yeah. When
don't read the reviews on like Prime. Read the reviews on Prime. Oh my god, dude. They're so bad. They're so like almost every one of them is like, this wasn't scary. It was just some guy on a sheet. Like so many people did not know what they were getting into.
Like, dude, you need to read before you watch a movie.
Read, yeah. It doesn't say horror. It doesn't say a maniac, a guy in a. If Dani's synopsis is what's on Prime, then they're idiots because hers basically says, "Are you ready to cry?" It's not a horror movie. Yeah, and I agree. It's the simplicity of it. And I mean, even the name is just a ghost story.
Yeah.
And it's not like Ghost. A comparison would be Ghost of Patrick Swayze, which is fine. I don't think it's that movie at all.
Yeah, me
it's just that's very, very like they're gonna tell this grand tale about love and betrayal. And this is just a guy. This is me or you. This is us.
Yes.
That dies and deals with being a ghost.
Yep. I think that's the key.
Great.
The key to the movie is that it allows you to put yourself in there so much. Like, what you get out of this movie is what you're bringing into it. I think, as you, because it's a I don't want to call it a blank slate because it's not a blank slate, but it gives you room to think about your own feelings and stuff. I think. I know. Sorry, I don't want to cut anybody off. I know Dani has notes because she always takes notes.
Oh no, yeah, no.
So,
let's hear what she has to say. She's been very respectful of me ranting. I feel bad.
That's fine. Let's see. One of the I only have a couple of notes, and most of them we've kind of covered already. But the one that we didn't talk about was the fact that she didn't take the piano when she moved.
Yeah, she left the piano,
and I thought that was kind of important that happened.
Well,
they kind of showed the moving on, I think, of...
I don't know about that because when we wrap back around at the end of the movie, when they move in, it's there. So, it's not their piano to begin with?
No, but you notice that he starts playing it right away.
Oh, of course.
He takes to it really, really quick, and he seems to like the fact... Because she even, the landlady, it seems, says, I can have it taken out, and he's no, it's fine.
Yeah, of course. I'm a musician.
So, it's more of a part of him than it would be a part of her.
Yes, it is.
And so, I said, I feel like her not taking it is really, probably symbolic of her truly moving on.
Yeah, I agree. Of course.
Yeah, I could see someone wanting It's like, oh yeah, he loved this. And it's like, that piano isn't him. It's a piano. He liked it, but that's not him.
Yeah.
And speaking of the piano, when he hears it in the beginning, and it's the ghost from himself from the loop,
Yeah.
I'm like, Harry Potter, this is not, nah, man, this is what it's about. I was like, I smiled, and I know it's silly, but I smiled so hard. I was like, man, that's smart. That's interesting. I like that a lot.
I fully agree with you. Like, I think that moment is when I started to feel it coming up, and then when the movie ends, it's just like
it's like inevitable. Yeah, it's like it implies that like it was going to happen.
Yes.
It already had happened to a point. I mean, obviously you don't need to explain it because it's not. It's unexplainable. But like, it's like it was already set. There was nothing that can be done about this kind of stuff. And it was a kind of like this is a really nerdy way to put it, but like whenever Tron goes from orange to blue in Tron Legacy, I was like, oh, when I heard that piano, I was like, oh man, it's so nice. What other notes did you have, Danny?
Let's see.
Oh, Danny did have a problem with one scene.
I'm alright.
Do you want to talk about that?
I guess I'm okay with it. I mean, I feel like people are gonna be like,
well,
I mean, trying to be politically correct, and I'm like, no, I'm really not.
No, it's just have opinions. Who cares? It's an opinion.
I'm sensitive to this because I'm an Arizona native. I've lived here my whole life. And so I've grown up with Native Americans and whatnot. And so
okay.
So the scene in which, and here's the thing, I kind of appreciate the fact that they didn't show anything.
Yeah.
They didn't show necessarily who it was, but it was kind of obvious when it was the war cries and the arrows, right?
Yeah.
And so when that scene occurred, it hit me, but it hit me in a different way because it was like, okay, it's a little racist, but at the same time,
I agree with that. As far as I know, I have no native connections. I've not grown up with natives, but my roommate, from Canada, she has like Canadian native in her, and since being around her, I've kind of become more like, yeah, that's a little stereotypical.
Yeah.
And when I watched it today again, I thought about that.
Yeah.
Because I knew what happened. And to explain people watching it, when he loops from the future, like back to the beginning, it shows like a settler, like a frontier family. And they're like setting up a house, or they're going to, which will eventually be their plot. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then it reveals that they all get killed, which happened a lot. Not so much by natives, I don't think.
Yeah.
Not so much.
Exactly. I think it would have been better. I guess visually they had to show that it was violence in some way.
Yeah, absolutely.
Logically, they probably died of like dysentery, and if you want to go off statistics, they probably died of like botulism or something. The odds of natives murdering this family is pretty low, as far as I understand.
Yes.
And so they didn't need to have. I agree. I do agree with that. I don't think it was a fair thing to show that they were butchered by natives, and then it didn't look like the natives took anything.
Yeah.
No,
so it kind of implied they just killed them for fun. And it wasn't like it was a family of like little girls and stuff. So I agree. That was a little insensitive, and I'm not big on politically correct stuff.
Yeah.
But I agree with you. I agree with you on that.
Yeah. They could have done something differently. Like they could have. It could have been, people. There were robbers back then. They could have something.
Yeah, there were highwaymen. But I definitely think, because that's the thing. That's one of the first things I said though was when they were just camping. And they were making the food, and then the thunder starts rolling in, and the weather and all that stuff. And I turned to Will, and I went, "They don't have a roof over their head." so I'm like, "That's not good."
No, yeah. They could have done something with like having them eat.
Yeah.
And like show the food close up, and then like one of them's like sweaty or something, and imply they got sick.
Or even them starving to death, which would also be pretty realistic, and that would also be horrible to see in the end.
That is also a way to show that life fucking happens, and sometimes shit just happens.
Yeah.
So
exactly, and I agree. I mean, I get why they did it. I guess
I do too,
because it's easier to have arrows in their backs and stuff. But I agree. I think it could have been done differently. Because it does kind of put off the vibe that those crazy savages killed them.
Yeah, and it's already
so much.
It's already a very white film. So.
Oh yes, yeah. Yeah, it's and it would have been so bad if it was like two guys or like two adults, but there's like little kids and stuff. And I mean I wasn't around, but I just can't imagine many people native, white, whatever,
No.
murdered children just for the hell of it.
Yes.
back then.
It's not like Native Americans didn't have families that
Yeah,
also
exactly.
slaughtered and,
Yeah.
and whatnot. I
Yeah.
mean, come on.
And normally, if that was going to happen, it's because that somebody was provoked, something was going on. This just seemed like it was just like, oh,
And
let's
they were
kill
just
them.
sitting there. Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And it just, yeah. I see when I first watched it, I saw the little girl that like gets up and draws and like walks off or whatever. I thought it was gonna like pan over to them like starved to death or like sick or something. And then when it showed arrows, I legitimately was like, well, okay, that's a weird way for them because they didn't look like people that were like violent.
Yeah,
Mhm.
exactly.
And so it kind of implies that whoever killed them, they were just mindlessly violent. So no, I completely agree with you on that, Danny.
Okay.
That's if I had to have one problem with the film, I hate to say this because I'm really anti that kind of stuff, but I agree.
Yeah,
I have
no.
to admit.
Yeah, I agree. That's literally my only issue with the movie. And you know, while we were watching it, Danny was like a little more pissed off than me. But that's just because I was like, I mean, I like this movie, so I don't want to like hate it because of this. So
Yeah, and it's
And
not
I
really
don't.
important.
yeah, I mean, it's a very small thing, and
It's a very small
yeah,
thing.
I wouldn't say don't watch this movie because of that scene.
Oh no,
because
no.
The movie's not about that. The movie is about such a bigger thing.
But watch it
Exactly.
and acknowledge that it's
yes,
a little tone deaf.
filmmakers could have changed that.
Yeah, it's they needed to die for the
Yes.
movie, and
And in a
they thought
horrible
of the
way, I
easiest
think.
way, and I think that's what they would. I mean, I guess it could be the reflection. Oh, people are evil, but then again, they didn't. I don't know. Like you said, they could have used bullets, and that would have been anybody.
Yeah.
But specifically, the arrows kind of imply that natives are evil.
Yeah.
And that's unneeded. I agree, but. Other than that, yeah, I tell you that the next shot that shows the little girl decomposing, Jesus
yeah.
Christ,
Dude, it's like 3 different stages of
it's
decomposition.
yeah. It saw the little girl. I thought, okay, he's gonna like go, not say anything, but like he's looking at her, going, Jesus, this is awful.
Yeah.
I thought it would just cut away to like maybe a grave or something. I didn't know, and then it shows her like halfway decomposed.
Yeah.
And I go, good Lord! And the next shot, the grass is like retaking her. I go, okay, so we all die and people forget about us.
Remember, we were trying to guess because we saw the rating and we saw that it was rated
Oh,
for.
yeah, it's rated R, which truthfully, I don't think this is an R-rated film. It doesn't need to be R-rated.
Oh, is it? I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's rated R because of that scene, obviously, because it's a little gruesome,
Yeah.
and because the guy in the party says "fuck" once. I mean, that's the only things in this film that I could see why it would be rated R. Otherwise, it's totally a PG-13 movie.
Yeah, see, that's so weird. Ratings are weird in general, but the fuck thing. I mean, that's my opinion on that is stupid. It's a word.
Exactly.
Get over it.
Yeah.
The body thing, I guess I can understand,
Yeah.
but it sounds awful. But it's not like you physically watch a body decompose. It cuts to parts. It's clearly not real. And so we're making it sound a lot worse, I think, than it is. It's bad.
I mean, it's not a horror
It's
movie.
startling, is what
Yeah.
it is. You don't expect it more so than it looks visually
And
bad.
it's meant to be that way as well.
It's meant to be shocking. Yeah.
Yeah, no, I can't believe it's an R. I guess it makes sense, but it just seems weird.
Right? Yeah.
Seems
I'm
a little bit
surprised
overkill to me.
Yeah.
That's the only 2 things I can think of. I didn't even think of the fuck, but I mean the body, I guess, yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, it doesn't deserve an R rating in my opinion.
No, I mean,
It's a skeleton. Like you see a skeleton.
yes. The one thing that
Goosebumps has skeletons.
the
So, I mean, I don't get it, but
one thing I kind of agree with it being R is because I don't think watching this as a teenager will really fully resonate with you.
oh yeah.
I think you need to have lived a good bit of
And
amount of life.
and if it
to
does
understand.
resonate with you as a teenager, then
Yeah,
Fuck.
you've lived a
Get
hard
ready,
life.
man.
yeah.
Yeah, get ready, because life's just starting, my friend.
Then you need to chill.
Yeah. Please enjoy it. It's like that scene in Billy Madison when he grabs the kid's face and says, take as long as you can.
Yeah.
Because, dude, you're jumping way too quick. Yeah, I loved it. I love that it didn't show what the note said.
Yes.
I love it.
Perfect choice.
Oh, you wanted to know?
Of course I want to know. Like,
Yeah.
of course I want to know.
I mean, I think we all want to know, but I think that the fact that it doesn't is kind of like, Is it what is it? Is it Shawshank Redemption where it doesn't show what's in the box, or is that? Am I thinking of Seven? Because
7.
they're both
Seven.
involved
They-
boxes.
they
Seven.
never
Okay.
show
They
it.
both have they're very different boxes. but
Yeah,
they both have
right.
boxes.
Those are very different boxes.
I mean, Seven's heavily implied what it is, obviously.
Yes.
But you don't need to see it. You don't
Yeah.
need to.
I think-
less
yes.
is more to me usually. But yeah, I agree. I wish I knew, but at the same time, I'm sure what Dani wanted it to say would be different than what I wanted it to say, and
Exactly.
etc. And so by not saying it, we're all right.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
that's the only takeaway I can take from, because they show you just enough to piss you off. Like you see a little bit of writing, you go, okay, something's on there, and then it's a poof, and you're hit
Yep.
you're hit with the vanish again.
Yep.
And
And-
there's not even like a pan down to
No,
it
no.
or anything.
It's
just
over.
no.
And like the eyes are all fucked up too.
Yeah,
That's the one thing I really, really enjoyed. That like he wakes up in the hospital and he's just a sheep, but then as soon as he's out of the hospital, he has the eyes,
Mhm.
and it's like
Yeah.
it's never explained, nothing. It's just to give him, I
No.
think, some sort of like facial features, just so you can connect,
Yeah.
maybe. But I did enjoy that a lot.
I like that it's like black fabric, opposed to you can actually see his eyes or nothing, because or like they edit out, make it black later, because it just with it being all real stuff. I'm sure them sewing on a piece of black saved them $2,000 on CGI or something.
Oh
but
yeah,
it just the movie's very real. I mean, is there? I guess the CGI in this film would be the future, if that counts.
yeah, that's about it. Yeah, I would think
That's
so.
pretty much it. I mean, I think the sheet falling was just a camera trick. I don't think they did any actual computer.
Mhm.
Yeah,
I didn't watch it more, but yeah, there's nothing in this. It's a very, very simple and grounded film, and I think that's why it works so good. Everything about it's simple.
yes.
Very relatable, very simple, and I don't know. Yeah, I could gush over this movie for hours, but
yeah.
no, I really liked it. I'm glad you guys liked it.
Yeah, you know what? It's like I said, there is the one part when he does go back in time. I felt like maybe the movie was gonna lose me because
Yeah.
it was just like, okay, like it just seemed so out of place and so out of left field that I was just like, where are they
Yeah.
going with this?
Yeah, exactly.
But then it comes back around. You're like, oh, okay, I understand now.
Yeah.
Like
when they first went back in time, you're like, okay, I get it. The guy
Yeah.
said like, oh, when you shove your fingers in the ground I get it.
yeah,
But then it does, like, he sees himself, and then the piano thing happens, and you go, okay, I like this. Though I did at least.
Yeah.
Yeah, it throws you a curveball with that.
mm-hmm.
I think that's really the only thing in the movie that you're like, huh? But you don't need to understand that. Or at least I don't.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Yeah.
It's like he's always going to be there
Yeah.
until he takes care of whatever it is he needs to take care of.
Yeah.
Which is depressing because the other ghost just gives up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Like,
does. Or
it impli-
is that ghost coming to terms with, oh, I'm waiting here for someone that's never going to come, so I might as well move on.
We also don't know how long
Yeah.
that ghost has been there.
That's true. We don't know how long.
That's true. It could have been like 7 loops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm done.
Yeah, this is over.
It's like,
The house
yeah,
is
that's-
gone.
yes.
I'm gone.
Yeah. yeah, that's, I don't know. Yeah, that's what's cool about it, because you don't need to know those answers.
Mhm.
But you can think about them and kind of make up for yourself. I don't want a sequel to this movie.
No.
But I want to watch something like it again. You know what I mean?
Yes.
I don't. I won't, and they won't be a sequel. I don't want a sequel, but it's kind of movie. I want to see something this simple, because it's so simple, but it tackles such heavy themes.
It
Yes.
does.
And that's what's so cool about it. It's like the whole movie to me felt like the ending of Space Odyssey. Like just the very end of Space Odyssey.
Yeah.
Just the clip of the end. I mean, I love all of that movie, don't get me wrong, but just the end when it kind of leaves it up to you to kind of put what happened here. That's how this entire movie felt to me.
Yes.
And that's why I liked it so much.
I
Yeah,
definitely agree.
I just keep saying I like it, but I don't know what else to say.
Would you say so? Like, was this your favorite movie that you've seen in like the past few years?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
But I hate movies, so I mean,
Yeah.
it's really. And see, I'm trying to think of like, in terms of films I've actually seen. I love The Witch. Witch was great, and I'd seen like ads for it. I'm like, yeah, it's not for me.
Yeah.
I'm not big into witch stuff, but that's because The Witch wasn't about a witch, and that's why it was so good. I mean, there was witch stuff to it, but it wasn't like hocus pocus. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
And that movie leaves, not to get off track, that movie leaves a lot up to interpretation too, and that's
It does.
again why it was so good. And that's a character piece. That movie, the acting is so good in that.
So good.
And I love The Witch. I love the Lighthouse. But like, so weird, simple, crazy movies. Like, I'm so burnt out on the same things. I'm not big on comic book movies and stuff. I like watching old films over and over and over again, like even if they're crappy.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, this is definitely probably the best film. When did The Witch come out? Like 2014?
I think, yeah. No, 15. Or
15,
6,
okay.
15?
So yeah,
Something around there, yeah.
The Ghost Story was 17, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, no, absolutely. In the past few years, Ghost Story's been, and I didn't see it until last year, I think, 2019 or 2020. I don't know what year it is anymore.
2020, the best year to watch this for the first time.
This year's shit too, man.
Yeah, it's continuing.
It's not getting any better, dude.
No.
But yeah, no, it's definitely the best movie I've seen in a few years. I wouldn't even say the best. It's my favorite. It's a really good movie.
Yeah.
Though. Like it's a well put together movie. Even if you don't like it, like there's some movies I don't like, but I acknowledge that they're really well done.
Yes.
And this movie is, for what it is I'd say it's almost flawless. Other than like what we talked about, and that's an opinion thing.
Yeah.
I think we're right in the opinion,
Yeah.
but that is an opinion thing. And man, yeah, no, it's definitely.
I feel
one of
like
the movies I've seen.
with this movie, like, I don't know, like, I know some people, like, more, I mean, I would consider this is a art house film. And some people just can't get into a film that isn't, this is what's happening, this makes you feel good at the end, and blah. And, you know, I understand that, but also it's like, I feel like this hits so many emotions, being a human being, and just, you know, any human being that's ever sat there and been like, the fuck is life all about? Like, you know?
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, like you don't have to. This doesn't have to be like, oh, I'm really into character. Like, okay, like The Witch. You kind of have to be into like character acting.
Yeah.
You have to be into like old school, like New England, to like that kind of stuff. And I get that. And it was pitched as a horror movie.
Yeah.
It is a horror movie. Don't get me wrong, but not to most people. Most people want to have the witch come up to them and rip the kids in half, and you have to physically see it, and they have, you know. This is like, if you're a person who's ever thought about anything, this appeals to you. You know, that's the thing. I think people don't give it time. That's the thing. If you don't get hooked, and this is going to sound really pompous, but I don't think people go to movies to think anymore. They just kind of want to turn off, and I get that, because the world sucks a lot of the time. You want to go, and I do that too. I'll watch Hackers when I want to just enjoy something.
Fuck yeah.
I don't have to think when I watch Hackers.
Yeah.
Or like any, you know, B movie of like, you know, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But I do want to think about, I want a movie to linger with me. And I think a lot of people just don't want that, like, ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I get that, I guess, but
I feel like that's just, you know, like you were saying, most people, movies are entertainment to them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
they can be, and that's fine.
Yeah,
I'm not going to stand against that.
They can be both.
Exactly.
That's why, I mean, I love all facets of film. Like, give me trash, give me high art, give me superhero movies. Like, as long as it's entertaining, like, I'm down. I don't know. Maybe that's just me as a person, that most people will be like, that movie sucked, and I'll be like, that was cool.
Yeah, no, you're positive, and that's great. I gotta be honest. I wish I felt that way. I don't. Movies a lot of time will just piss me off. I'm like, come on, nah.
Yeah.
But no, I'm with you. Like, it's, I don't know. Like, that's like when Scorsese said that superhero movies are like roller coasters, and people took that as like an insult. It's not.
It's true.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be fun.
Yeah.
It's a fun ride, and then you get off. He wasn't saying they weren't good. He was just saying that's what those are for, and that's fine. But not all movies need to be roller coasters.
No.
Some can be a trip to the DMV. You know, I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
Let's do that every now and then.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was great. I want to watch more things like it.
Yes.
But it seems so few and far between that we get films as simple and focused as this.
Yeah. I mean,
that's the big.
It's almost like this movie's kind of almost like, I don't know. It's like the only reason we got it is because people that were in the power to make it really gave a shit about it, and that doesn't happen. It doesn't happen that much anymore. It's just like, is this going to make money? It's like, well, who gives a shit if it makes money? Like, we want to make something that touches people, you know?
And that's like with George Lucas and stuff. Like, he was like, I want to make Star Wars my way. Well, just go do it. Again, you have the money, man. Exactly. You don't have to get people to produce it. I remember he had trouble getting that movie Red Tails made, which the story is great, but the movie sucked. And he complained that no studio would produce it. Just go make it. You have $1 billion, dude. Go make your movie.
That's the thing, though, is he doesn't want to take that risk either.
Oh, no, exactly.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't want to make a movie. They want to be paid to make a movie.
Yes, exactly.
And movies like this happen when someone legitimately just wants to make it. I'll put the $100,000. Let's do it.
Well, didn't he deliver a script the day before, or it was a really absurdly short amount of time before they were going to start shooting one of the Star Wars films?
Oh, I think that was for Phantom Menace, right?
Yeah, it was a week or two before, and he openly said a lot of what's the word? Improv. It would say they fight. He said a lot of they fight.
That's because he can't make a movie.
I mean, he could. He could.
No. He could. He doesn't want to.
George Lucas is one of the most sad figures ever in film because
it's depressing.
He was a good filmmaker, and then he allowed the system to just fucking eat him alive.
Yeah. He went and defended a while back when Casablanca was going to be changed to color, they were going to get rid of all the black and whites. He went and defended, said, do not touch these movies in the National Archive.
Why the fuck
Don't
would
touch
they
them.
do that?
And he was one of the people to go and rally not to edit these old movies. And then he goes and he literally removes actors from his own films. And it's what happened, man? What happened? I guess money gets to you. I guess it really does.
It's the money. It's totally the money. I'm pretty sure everything after the first Star Wars he did for money.
Oh, yeah. And it's just all right. And then he sells it to Disney, all right, fuck you.
And then he acts like a little hurt bitch, because...
Yeah, because they basically laughed at him when he had all these scripts, and they said, we're not going to do that.
No, this side.
We're good.
And then he's like, okay, I'm going to go home.
Yeah.
$2 billion.
Yeah. That's exactly what happened.
Not to get off topic, but these films don't happen because of stuff like that.
Yeah.
It has to make money.
Yeah.
If it doesn't make money, they don't care. Not all the time.
Yeah, not all the time.
It's a rare thing for stuff like this to happen.
I mean, that's the one good thing about A24 is that they seem to I get the sense that they are oh, you want to make that movie? We think it sounds cool. Here's your money.
As long as it doesn't cost $6 million.
Yes, exactly.
Let's get it going.
Yeah.
Didn't you say that? I think you told me that there are people who are into horror who don't like A24.
I've heard A24 referred to as hipster art house,
Yeah.
something like that. And it's I don't particularly agree. I think people are just hating on them because they have so many good. They've made such a name for themselves with all these great films, and
except for Saint Maud.
Oh, let's not get into Saint
Sorry.
Maud.
What movie?
Saint Maud.
Ugh.
I have not heard of it.
That's a movie I waited, I think, over a year for because it was supposed to be released and then the pandemic happened, so then they held it back and then finally they released it. So I waited a very long time for this film.
That's your first mistake.
Yeah, I know. Well, and the thing was, of course, they hyped it up, and I have to admit, I'm one of those people who kind of buys into the hype of certain horror films because I just do. And they said when it was showed at whatever film festival. That the last 10 minutes of the film are insane, and I'm just I'm ready, okay? I'm fucking ready.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's anything but, truthfully. It's such a giant letdown, and I think some people actually would blame me for thinking that this was a horror movie.
No. They marketed it that way.
They did. They marketed it that way, and it's...
You gotta watch that marketing.
Yeah,
it's just well, that's the thing, is I'm A24, okay, cool. I've rarely been disappointed by them, but this was a giant letdown.
It was...
What else have they put out? Because I've only seen from them The Witch, The Lighthouse, and now this.
So
I haven't seen
Midsommar.
anything else from them.
Yeah.
That I know of.
Midsommar,
Okay.
Uncut
Hereditary.
Gems.
Okay.
I don't believe Hereditary was
No?
A20. No, it was A24. They also put out Tusk a while back before they really hit their stride.
I liked.
I
Tusk.
love. most people
See, I
don't. I love Tusk.
I haven't seen that. I've seen Hereditary, and there's an example of a movie that is really, really well done. I do not disagree. I don't care for it.
Yeah.
But it's extremely well made movie.
Yes.
I just don't like her. I didn't like it. I don't know why I didn't like it. I just didn't. But I watched it and I go, okay, this is smart. This is well done. And
Yes.
so yeah, I've not seen any bad A24. I mean, I haven't seen Tusk and I haven't seen Midsummer. People have been literally ripping me apart to watch Midsummer.
I think. I
Well,
really,
if you didn't like Hereditary, I don't know if you'd really dig that.
Really, because I really
know
want to
that's
know.
what I was saying too.
I want to know
I need
his
to
opinion
watch it.
so bad on it.
Well, yeah,
But I haven't seen it.
Well, I would like to hear your opinion on it too. I mean,
I'll admit completely, Hereditary, I don't like it because of a very childish reason. It annoys me. Everything about it annoyed me. Not because it was bad. I was just like, this is stupid.
yeah.
Why did he catch on fire? This is stupid. Why are they okay with this? This is stupid. The whole time I'm like, it annoyed me as a viewer, and I'm not saying it's bad, don't get me wrong, because I know, first of all, I'll get crucified for saying that I didn't like Hereditary, but I don't dislike it because it's not good. I dislike it completely at a personal taste. I think it's a great film. I loved it up until the dad catching on fire. Spoilers really was the fucking final straw, dude. I was like, 'cause I like that actor a lot. I love that actor.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, this is great. And then he just bursts into flames and go, what the fuck? That makes no sense. Why did that? And then it was just a downward spiral. But yeah, no, I haven't seen Midsummer. I need to watch that. I've heard it's really good. It's really hard to get me to sit and watch a film.
Yeah.
And that's just because I've been let down so many times.
Yeah.
And I mean way more than I've been excited to have watched one. I felt like I wasted time way more than, and that's me. That's 100% me being negative. I get that.
I think
But
Midsommar is bleak enough for.
Yeah, Midsommar's pretty
for-
bleak, man.
for
might be
laugh.
Okay,
I think
I'm
really like
cool
it.
with if I just go into it not liking any of the characters, I'll be good. 'Cause
Yeah.
For someone
No,
who
that's
likes
totally
bleak
fine.
stuff,
That's totally fine to not
Okay,
like the characters
good.
in that movie.
All right, that's what I'll do. Then.
That's totally fine.
But the one thing, especially with Saint Maud, because just to come back to that, just 'cause I just want to talk about as I get
we're just
older, I'm like, you know what? Even if everyone loves this movie, it's completely okay for me to not like this movie.
Mhm.
Like, even if people I respect like this movie, that's fine. We're all different fucking people. And because Saint Maud, I did want to like it. It's just I don't. And people like fucking Guillermo tweeted and he about how much he loved it. And I'm like, I don't understand.
The greatest man to ever live.
Yes. He's like, I love
Yes.
you, but I don't love that movie too.
No, like the only time that I get like legitimately angry about someone disliking or liking something is when it ruins a pre-established thing. That's when I'll get annoyed.
Yeah.
But I play video games a lot, and that's how it is. If you ever loved the video game, they're gonna fucking ruin it.
Yeah.
Just wait.
Will's a Silent
if it
Hill
was-
fan. He knows all about
Oh no!
that.
Don't bring up Silent Hill with Laz here.
Well, the third Silent Hill film is coming out. Christoph Gans, the director of the first ones, he's doing this one.
I hope it's good.
And so I don't even want to open up that can.
Yeah.
Man. I just don't want to. I will say this: I enjoy the second one more because it's so fucking bad.
It's so
And
bad, but it's so good.
I love watching it because Jon Snow, that actor, I don't know his name, Kip Kenny or some shit. His accent's awful.
It's
oh
pretty
my
bad.
god, it's bad.
He's also
And I'm
playing
like,
a character that
He's playing two characters got mixed into
playing-
one.
Yeah.
Yes, he's supposed to be like 40 years old,
Yeah.
and he's like, "Oh man, let's get on Facebook." And it's like, you watch that and go, "Wait a minute, he was like a highly paid actor on Game of Thrones. What the fuck?" That makes. And I've never watched Game of Thrones, so maybe he's great. I don't know.
He's good on
He's
it.
good. He's good enough.
Okay.
I mean,
He's shit in the Silent Hill movie. I'm sorry.
I think the second Silent Hill movie, I think it all falls down to shitty ass script, and the director probably wasn't up for it.
Oh yeah, no, it's someone like loaded up like a Linkin Park music video for Silent Hill 2, and they said, "All right, yeah, that looks like the game. Let's do that."
Do that.
It's completely like that.
Yeah.
Like,
But yeah, no, I
know,
need.
We got way off the topic on that.
Yeah, we did. Sorry about that.
No, man, it's fine. I just want to get to our the rating section.
Yep.
Well, I mean, I think we know probably what your rating is, but out of 10, what would you give it?
Out of 10, realistically, I'd say probably a 9. But I don't think I'd ever give a film a 10 ever.
A 10 has to be earned, like well earned.
I'm just nothing's perfect.
No.
Except There Will Be Blood and Taxi Driver. But no. I'd say a 9, 9.5 maybe.
Yeah.
I really like A Ghost Story. It's every now and then a film comes along that I have like a top 5 films, and every now and then one will pop up, and I'll go, damn, I'm gonna have to knock one of my other ones down because I like it that much. And it doesn't happen that much, but when it does, yeah, no, I'd say 9.5. Honestly.
All right, Dani.
I'm gonna give it an 8. I would give it a 9, but it's too sad.
See, that gave me bonus. I would have given it a 7 if it wasn't sad. That's how I rate my movies.
Yeah, Dani doesn't like to walk away from films feeling upset.
I mean, I do and I don't.
Yeah.
It's
Well, yeah. I mean, listen. Normal people don't like to be upset. Don't worry about it. You're the normal person in this conversation.
Yeah.
I promise.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. 9 out of 10 for sure. I mean, like, I cannot remember the last movie that made me emotional. So I mean, like it's just in so many ways, and just I don't want to keep going too long because we're almost at an hour now. But just I think for me, this movie it deals a lot with getting closure, and that's something I've had different things with in my life where maybe I haven't gotten closure for this or that. And so I think seeing him get the closure that he needed to move on was hit me really hard.
Yeah, I think you feel sad for yourself.
Yes. Yeah.
More so than him. Like, I mean, he's the vessel in the movie, but when you're upset, it's because you relate to it so much.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's not like the Notebook where you go, oh, how sad.
Yeah.
You relate to. You can see, wow, I can completely understand how that guy feels. This could happen to me. This may very well happen to me. Yeah, no, I agree. I think Dani's right. This it makes you feel like shit.
I don't know, like, it's a weird mixture though, because it's like I was sad, but I was also it really, like, especially the thing in between him and his wife, like I like cried and then came over and hugged Dani.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
I love you. I don't want to die in a car crash and then have to watch you move on.
Yeah, just don't ever drive anywhere. And it's like that too. It's like the way I took it was this is gonna sound really cheesy, but other people think about that same shit. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not the only person that sits and worries about that kind of weird shit sometimes.
Yeah.
And so it's cool that at least one person, sat down and wrote a script about that feeling.
Yeah.
And so you go, okay, maybe I'm not insane. You know?
Yeah.
Like it's a cool, it's a good movie.
Yeah. I think that's what all good art does. It makes you think, and it shows you that you're not alone in thinking this.
Yeah. I agree. It's a great wrap up of it.
Yeah. All right. Well, Laz, is there anything that you want to plug at all?
Nah, man.
No?
Don't worry about it. Sorry it took an hour.
No,
I feel bad.
it's fine.
It's great.
No, I love when we can have a good conversation, especially as soon as when we finish this movie, I was like, this is going to be a great movie to have a discussion about.
From everything from Heaven to Afterlife to George Lucas to fucking Silent Hill movie, like everything, dude. Like this.
Somehow we got all that in there.
All of it.
All right. Well, we will. Thank you, Laz, for coming on, and thank you for bringing the movie.
Yep.
We will be back next week with a movie that's not at all like this. I'm gonna show Dani. I think I want to show Dani a trauma movie.
Christ.
Oh yes, man. No. Okay, you'll walk away feeling sick.
Yeah.
But you won't walk away feeling sad.
But I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'm alright with that.
We'll do that.
Great. I'm so excited.
Yeah. All right. Well, Laz, thank you again for coming on.
No
and,
problem, man.
We'll see everybody next week. Bye.